Welcome to the Daily Horror Habit Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Krieger, bringing you daily reviews of current and classic horror movies for your twisted pleasure. Be aware that these reviews and discussions may include spoilers. And as always, I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to WILLY'S Wonderland. You spend the night cleaning WILLY'S Wonderland, and I will pay to have your car fixed. Deal? You are officially on staff. Let's get the hell out of here. I can't stand to hear a grown man scream.
This place has a dark history. I know the bullshit story they told you. It's a lie. You're here to be a human sacrifice. Have you been listening to a word I've been saying? He's gonna die in here, but he won't listen to me.
The machines got out. Nobody is safe. Put your balls on, Evan. We're going to Willie's.
He's not trapped in here with them. They're trapped in here with him.
I enjoy a man of few words.
To say Nicolas Cage has had an interesting career would be a colossal understatement. With an Oscar win and 106 acting credits to his name spanning all manner of genres, to put the man in a box would be ill-advised. Cage's range from leading man to VOD schlock has made him a consistent and undeniable part of the medium for decades. His famed knack for explosive bouts of energy appropriately named Cage Rage is the stuff of movie legend, a legend that precedes the man these days. It's not hard to be in awe of Cage's chameleon-like versatility in applying his unrestrained and sometimes unhinged performances to literally any genre. Does it always work? Of course not, but I'm not sure you could ever describe a Cage performance as sleepwalking through it, as some other aging action stars have begun to. This being a long-winded way of saying if a director were looking for the actor to bring an animatronic slasher nightmare to life, it would be Nicolas Cage. But does Cage fighting musically inclined but very homicidal robots sound better on paper than it actually plays out on screen? Directed by Kevin Lewis and written by G.O. Parsons, WILLY'S Wonderland, which is currently streaming on video on demand, locks Cage inside basically the worst Chuck E. Cheese ever. Cage plays a silent and unnamed protagonist who gets a flat tire and has to resort to paying off the repair work by spending an evening cleaning up the defunct children's restaurant WILLY'S Wonderland. After turning a blind eye to the graffiti on the outside of the building that reads "Kid Killers," Cage enters the fun center to begin a night of scrubbing toilets and years of muck off the walls. His evening of laborious labor is interrupted when WILLY'S Wonderland's horrifying and very non-kid-friendly animatronics come to life and try to kill Cage and a group of teenagers that show up. On paper, this sounds too good to be true, given the formula of blending Cage Rage with a Five Nights at Freddy's-esque scenario. The carnage would hopefully excuse any and all shortcomings of its narrative. And this is where WILLY'S Wonderland falls short of its true potential, while still occasionally delivering fun moments of animatronic slaughter. Given Cage's propensity for giving larger-than-life performances, it's a staggering miscalculation to have his character, only referred to as the janitor, not speak for the entire duration of the film. His vernacular is limited to the savage acts of violence against the robotic foes, but his physicality aside, there isn't much to his performance. He's either cleaning, killing, setting alarms to remind himself to drink Punch Pop soda, or centrally playing pinball in a dance-like manner. And now for a brief intermission. If you've been enjoying this episode of Daily Horror Habit, please take a moment to subscribe to the show on your preferred streaming platform or leave us a review on iTunes. And thank you for your continued support, and I hope you enjoy the remainder of today's horrifying episode. The film's cheesy, self-aware nature is ripe for a litany of Cage one-liners as he decapitates and impales the animatronics. So to never actually get any one-liners definitely kind of hurts the fun factor of the film, for what it is. I did get a few chuckles out of Cage, seemingly indifferent or unsurprised by robots coming to life to kill him, as he simply puts their mechanical corpses into a trash bag before heading to the next area of WILLY'S Wonderland that needs to be cleaned. However, it strikes me as a wild miscalculation to not fully capitalize on Cage's potential to elevate the cheese and laughs, given he's capable of selling insanity particularly well. Cage's lack of lines results in more focus being shifted to the band of teens who arrive to put Willy's Wonderland out of business for good. Though none of these characters are memorable past their very blatant slasher tropes, with dialogue that's equally uninspired and groan-worthy. These characters naturally serve merely as meat for the animatronic grinder, which does produce the most satisfying moments of the film. To the film's credit, it delivers a variety of depraved murder mascots that stalk Cage and the teens. Creature designer Kenneth J. Hall has given each mascot their own identity that's a combination of classic critters but with a horrifying spin. Whether it's the 9-foot murderous orange weasel Willy himself, the Tinkerbell with fangs Siren Sarah, or the knight with a buster sword that would make Cloud jealous, each mascot is different enough that it gives Cage a litany of foes to run through. Seeing Cage break a broom in half and beating a robot ostrich to death, or decapitating a knight with its own sword, the gleeful nature with which Cage and the animatronics kill is bloody and frantic. I mean, it's undeniable that Cage ripping out an animatronic mascot's metallic spine or curb stomping its head on a toilet seat isn't metal as fuck. But while these brief spurts of cartoonishly brutal violence succeed in capitalizing on Willy's Wonderland's promising premise, they don't excuse the film's repetitive and flimsy structure. In between each kill is a montage of Cage cleaning Willy's Wonderland's various rooms, mostly setting the stage for a fight to break out. The formulaic nature of the film, though, quickly outstays its welcome, resulting in this 88-minute film to feel far longer than it actually is, making this kind of a drag. The film builds to an unremarkable climax as we've now watched Cage clean and kill, rinse and repeat for the better part of 80 minutes. And with no real deviations stylistically or narratively, other than exactly what is presented within the first 20 minutes of the film, it never really capitalizes on that premise that works so well on paper as it should. I can appreciate that Willy's Wonderland is fully aware of its particular brand of absurdity, which it fully leans into with its mascot-branded violence. Cage is the perfect vessel for doling out this unrestrained bloodbath, but I can't help but feel that the film could have leaned even harder into its absurdist violence. Cage adopting a silent but strong protagonist approach feels like it undercuts him to unleash his famed Cage rage, even more so than just through physicality. At one point in the film, a character screams, he's not trapped in Willy's with the animatronics, but they're trapped in here with him. And while the film does turn the slasher convention on its head, with the antagonists finally meeting a man they are no match for, the flimsy and odd pacing of the film and its narrative never do this concept justice. Cage is an unstoppable force, but the momentum of this force is brought to a screeching halt periodically from tedious cleaning montages and focus shifting to secondary characters who are no match for Cage's presence. Willy's Wonderland is one of those films that die-hard Cage and B-movie fans will be the most pleased with, but most will be left wanting more of what could have been. And that'll do it for another episode of Daily Horror Habit, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Daily Horror movie review. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Daily Horror Habit on your preferred streaming service, and follow the show on Instagram at Daily Horror Habit and on Twitter at Daily Horror Pod for episode updates. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.